West Coast culture is like, there's nothing wrong with always hustling, but it's like always hustling and it's a bit fake at sometimes. Yeah. I think it's the fakeness that gets me.
Yeah, like not authentic.
Yeah.
Like they seem scripted.
It's not like they seem scripted. It's like they mean what they say, but it's like you're want to connect with me because you want to do this, not because you want to connect with me.
Yeah, it's not a genuine connection.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So we're live. Another episode of Adversity Kings. We're in our 90s. Aiden Hill behind the booth, the podcast booth back there, editing for us. And then we have our special guest today. Introduce yourself.
Hello, guys. My name is George Makunde Martin, and I am a software engineer at Google, also the founder of Justice For Cameroon and Tech Link Up Shy.
Let's go. Really cool individual. So I met George, and I just call him, basically, I don't even know how to pronounce your last name, but every time I see you like on IG, I go like G Makunde or whatever. You know what I mean? So how do I pronounce it so I'm respectful?
Makunde.
So I was kind of close.
You're always there, but also misconception. Most people think that's my last name. That's actually my middle name.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Some people know me as Makunde. Some people know me as George. Interchangeable for real.
Now, were any of the UFC champions, were they any of them Cameroonian?
Francis Ngannou.
Okay, because I always thought they were all three of them Nigerian. There was Kamaru Usman, and then there's Israel Adesanya, and then France. I thought they were all three Nigerian. And then somebody told me, like, nah, one of them's, I thought, Cameroonian.
Yeah.
Am I saying that correctly as well?
You're saying that right.
Okay, now I want to just jump right in. So have you ever been out to Cameroon? Have you ever visited?
Surprisingly, no. I've been to Ghana before, but not Cameroon.
Okay, and is that your direct heritage, is Cameroon?
Correct.
Okay, so parents, did they immigrate over here?
Yeah, my parents came in before I was born, maybe a couple years before my sister was born. Well, yeah, after my first sister was born, maybe a little bit afterwards. But
okay,
yeah.
and they landed in Chicago, like straight to Chicago?
No, I actually moved to Chicago last year.
Okay.
Maryland, born and raised PG County, Maryland, specifically Beltsville.
Okay, that's dope. Now, before we go any further, because we're a smaller podcast, I don't know how long people listen. When we do our analytics, it doesn't really show us. That never shows us the length, right? Of like how long, like duration. We'll have anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 viewers, like monthly. So, but I don't know how long. So I like, if anything you want to shout out, let's just do it in the first 5 minutes.
Okay.
Companies, anything like that.
I ain't got much to shout out, but I'll just plug in Tech Link Up Chicago. If you're in tech, based in Chicago, follow the page at Tech Link Up Shy. Boom. Was that a timer?
That's a timer to join Tech Link in Chicago, and for me to eat my next meal that I'm not going to be eating.
Damn.
Tech Link in Chicago. What else?
At Justice For Cameroon.
Justice For Cameroon. And where can they find all of this?
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, soon TikTok.
Let's go.
I gotta get into that TikTok game.
That's been the biggest ROI for me lately.
Word.
TikTok, yeah, absolutely huge. And they do it all for me. I just gotta sit in front of a camera and make content. They edit it, they put it up, all that crazy stuff they do for me. So it's dope. So let's go back into you. So parents, they came over to America. So obviously, outside of the opportunity being greater here, was there any adversity or things they were going through back home that kind of inspired them to get to America?
Yeah, both of my parents grew up without their parents. So it came to a certain age where there were not as many opportunities for them for their career advancement. So my dad wanted to, come over here. He had my uncle was already here first, and he immigrated over to Maryland. My mom also was in the same predicament. Both her parents weren't in her life. She wasn't really quite sure what to do, and she won the green card lottery. So
what's that?
Green card lottery is kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like you get a green card, and you're able to use that green card in order to travel to another place. Like you need a green card to travel from Cameroon to United States or Canada.
How long can that application process take for an average Cameroonian?
That's a good question. Honestly, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I know that's my oldest sister. She got here on the green card lottery when I was in middle school.
Yeah. Do you have any future plans of going back to visit?
Yeah, definitely. Plan to visit in next year. Actually, next year around May.
Is there a specific language to Cameroon? Is there like a dialect?
Yes and no. So Cameroon is actually one of the most culturally diverse countries in Africa.
Yeah.
With like I think it's over like 300 languages, plus. So my mom, she speaks her own tongue. She's
Just in Cameroon?
just in Cameroon itself. The two official languages are English and French,
Okay.
and which is actually the cause of what's known as the Anglophone Crisis because
France went over there and tried to enslave everybody.
no,
No?
but yes, but no, not in the Anglophone Crisis at least. This
Okay.
one's more of a conflict between the English-speaking minority versus the French-speaking government. So, in a nutshell, because it's a lot of intricacies, but pretty much English is supposed to be the second language, but if you don't know French, you can't really get ahead in Cameroon. Both my parents from the English-speaking part, so also was maybe part of the reasons why they came to America as well. But yeah, English and French are the main language spoken, mostly French more than anything, but
Yeah.
everybody knows their own dialect.
Okay. So, and then I'm kind of curious because I remember listening to Francis Ngannou's podcast, and he was talking about escaping Cameroon. And in doing so, there was just this weird passage he would take to Europe, like I think via boat or something like that. And if you got caught, they sent you back to a desert, or they like dropped him off in a desert. And this happened 2 or 3 times. It's a phenomenal podcast, and I'm probably butchering his story, but it had me just curious in regard to what are the conditions in some of the, I don't know, towns, neighborhoods, whatever it would be called, or villages in Cameroon or some countries in Africa. And like, I think sometimes it makes me grateful, I guess, when it comes down to like just being in America. And when we have lows here, it's like nobody's going to drag you to a desert and leave you to die. You know what I mean? And say it's like, hey, you know, you tried to do this, so your accountability is going to be, you know, X, Y, or Z. And it's going to be like an extremity in comparison to like, what are the true consequences, you know, in America? You know what I mean? Even imprisonment here would probably be a luxury for some places in a third world country, having access to food and water and things like that. So I think of that. But I guess as we wrap back in, so they come to America. What did they do? Did they get back into school? Did they get into a career?
Came to America, got into school. My dad, I don't even know what he went to school for, but I know he's an accountant right now. My mom, I actually remember her going to school with me when I was young. I think she started off as a LPN. And
Okay.
I think that's a licensed something. I know
Professional
it's a
nurse. Yeah.
There we go, licensed professional nurse. She was in school to become an RN when I was younger. So even sometimes I just always remember I had the goldfish crackers. I was in the back seat.
Yeah.
She was studying. She was on her way to school, or they had to drop me off somewhere. But yeah, my mom's still a nurse right now. My dad, still an accountant. They've been in their profession after my mom graduated school ever so long, probably since I was in like late elementary school, early middle school.
What was elementary school and growing up for you like those early years?
Early years has been pretty simple. Like, I'm from, again, Beltsville, Maryland, so it's a pretty chill town if you don't get into anything bad. High school was a little bit more hectic, but me as elementary school, the world was kind of small. I was just in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Everybody, we used to play outside by the generators.
Yep.
My parents were very hard on me from when I was young, especially when it came to academics. Like,
Yeah.
my friends was like, "Oh, George, you want to come outside?" And I'd be like, "I can't." Like, my dad usually during some time, he'll actually buy like books
Yeah.
for me to like write, like to do math, and he'll give me homework outside of homework. And if I don't do that homework, I can't go home. I couldn't go outside.
Yeah.
Even like everything, because my parents are not that technologically savvy.
Yeah.
So I think what actually sparked my interest in technology started around like 3rd grade. We had one computer. It was always broken. And they always called me, 3rd grader, to come fix it. And in my head, I'm like, bro, I'm in like 3rd grade. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what you want me to do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it really, because computer science is all about like problem solving and debugging. There's a lot of people who did math as a major, never coded, who can just hop into software engineering because it's really about the way you think and how you try to handle problems.
Yeah.
So being thrown into, mind you, no phones, no Google, just me, this computer, and vibes.
Yeah.
And I was able to figure out a lot of what was going on and got me into thinking like, okay, like if this doesn't work, I can try to do this. And gave me a lot of good debugging skills that I didn't even know I was generating really early on.
Yeah. So I guess as you transition into like more of the middle school, early high school years, were you getting into more athletics? Were you all academics? What was that kind of transition like?
So I didn't really get into athletics until like my freshman year of high school. Believe it or not, I was like 4'11" in middle school. I
Yeah.
was like a late bloomer, real skinny too. I really did love football though. I would play like if I was playing something outside with my friends in middle school, it was probably football.
Yeah.
Um, and I just love like the Ravens, Ray Lewis
Yep.
defense. So I always knew like hard hitting linebacker. I was the one trying to take somebody's head off when they
Yeah.
caught the ball.
Dope. And so football, you evolve, you go from there. Do you play all 4 years in high school?
No, I played 3 years in high school. So pretty much my parents were against me playing football.
Yeah.
Pretty much, but I lied. My 8th grade year, I was playing flag football for the Beltsville Bulls.
Yeah.
And 9th grade, my parents didn't want me to play like contact football, but I snuck out anyways because I live really close to my high school. I can literally like walk over there or jog over there.
Yeah.
So I'll jog over there. I was secretly practicing. Then my little cousin snitched on me. So, but because I played flag football in 8th grade, they assumed that it was the flag football that I was playing over there. So they let me play my first year. Eventually, they saw that it wasn't flag football, but at that point, it was like, I guess we'll see how this pans out.
Yeah.
But by the time it got to my junior year, I didn't play because my grades weren't slipping. I graduated with like a 3.1, but they weren't nothing special.
Yeah.
So, but they wanted me to concentrate on my grades, 1, and then 2, they just didn't like the violence that the sport bring. I never got any major injuries, but they're always like very cautious about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, because pretty much every year I had to beg them to play again.
You got to resell them.
Yeah, I was able to resell in my senior year, luckily, because I'm like, I can get a scholarship. And they're like, okay.
Good
Now
sales
we're talking.
tactic.
Yeah.
Utilizing what they cared about the most.
Yep.
Smart. So you finish up high school. What was the hardest point of your life up until graduating high school?
Hardest point in my life until graduating high school, I'll probably just say like, just in general, I wouldn't say like I always had what I needed at home.
Yes.
But I always had to work for what I wanted. So even when I was 10, if I had the whole neighborhood on payroll when I was 10 because I was like, I need money to buy stuff that I want. So I had a lemonade stand. I sold cookies. I sold all that by the side of the street.
Yeah.
Hired like 3 people from my neighborhood. They was working, going door to door, selling the snacks. So like, I wouldn't say that, like I didn't have anything. I had a lot, honestly, more than a lot of people around me did, especially. But I just always knew from young, like if I want something, I have to go and get it myself. Like nobody's about to come save me. I can't just wish for something to come down. I had to put in the work in order to get it.
Mm-hmm. I like that. So where did you decide to go to college and why?
So I ended up going to Morgan State University, the national treasure.
Okay.
I ended up choosing Morgan State because, like I said, I played football. I also did wrestling and track, but I played football. I ended up getting a scholarship, but it was for a private school. I think it was Division II private school. I forgot which one it was specifically. It's been a while. Maybe it was like a Catholic school or something like that. Regardless, the tuition fees were so high, the amount of the scholarship didn't even cover the full amount. So I'm the last child out of 4. At that point in time, my parents were not going to have enough just to sponsor me during school. I knew for a fact I didn't want to stay at home. I love my parents, and I love them out because of distance, but especially during high school, like, I was ready to get out of there. Like, I needed to leave for my own well-being.
Yes.
So it was looking like I was either going to join the military or I was going to go to community college. I was probably going to join the military. Yeah. But then I got this scholarship from Morgan State, and I was surprised because, like, in high school, I wasn't a slouch, but at the same time, I started off pretty slow, and my GPA was like a 3.1, so I wasn't expecting, like, any scholarships or anything like that. Yeah. But they ended up giving me a full ride. I just had to worry about room and board, but they gave me full tuition scholarship, and I was like, oh, okay. I guess I'm going to Morgan State.
And then you did all 4 years there?
Yes, sir.
So what did you study there then?
Computer science.
Okay, and then that led you to Chicago?
No. Well, yes, technically, but yeah. It's a long road before Chicago, but I ended up going to Chicago when I graduated in 21.
So what did college look like? Let's kind of journey down this road. So what did college look like?
Okay, so college looked like, so I chose computer science because my dad saw something on TV about like cybersecurity jobs and the rise of them. Cybersecurity and computer science, somewhat the same, but not really. There's a big difference, and I'm so glad I didn't choose cybersecurity. But I chose computer science because I thought it was, and I found out that it wasn't. So at Morgan State, there's this thing called the Google of Residence. Google of Residence means that a full-time software engineer teaches the Intro to Computer Science course at the school. So I was doing well in classes, and I was somewhat new to coding. But yeah, my teacher pulled me to the side. He was like, "Yo, you should apply to this thing called the EP internship." And I was like, "Okay, sure." I wasn't gonna do it. He kept pressuring me to like apply. And eventually, I kept thinking about it. I was like, he might be onto something. So pretty much the EP internship is like a internship for freshmen and sophomores to have their internship at Google.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just started coding like a couple weeks ago. Google is not about to hire me. I'm not about to waste my time on this application.
Yeah.
But like the day of the deadline, I don't know what possessed me, but I was just like, man, I'm just watching YouTube right now. Like, I might as well see what happened. I literally used the same resume I applied to McDonald's because I was working at McDonald's. The same resume, applied in, and then I actually got an interview, and I was like, what? That's crazy. So I'm like, let me take this computer science stuff seriously. Had like 5 interviews. They actually came in person, like 2 or 3 in person, 2 or 3 on the phone. By January of my freshman year in college, I got an offer to intern at Google.
Wow. And so you're in a position of interning there, but like on the extracurricular side, or did you get a part of any like frats? Do you have any fun? Like outside of the academics, like what was the full picture?
So outside of the academics, I got really involved in student government. I was the Speaker of the Senate for student government for 2 years and regular senator for 1. Also, I was a party guy. I still am a party guy. I've been hosting parties a lot. But I knew how to balance it at the same time. I was also involved in ASO, African Student Organization, on the dance team. So dancing was also a big part of it. And actually, dancing taught me a lot of transferable skills, too, when it comes to, like, public speaking. That helped me with SGA run and just in general about, like, expressing myself, which was pretty cool.
Yes. So I guess with that, like, why? Like, why be a part of all of those things? Like, what was like the most meaningful thing to you? Like, what was the point and purpose of it?
Well, one, just I feel like finding community is really important. Spend time with people who like to do the same things that you do and just like having fun. Work is very important, but like things that just give you enjoyment are equally important.
Yes.
You can't just work yourself to the ground. I also forgot to mention that I founded a club, Developer Student Club. It's pretty much like bridging the gap between theory and practice. So a lot of times when I had my first internship, I had no idea what I was doing until like 2 months in.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, damn, I thought I was like, I don't know if I can curse or not, but I thought I was.
No, yeah, you can.
I thought I was a shit. Like, I was like, I came in with my head up high, chest up, like, I got this offer my freshman year. And then, I mean, I crossed the line, but at the same time, I was like, there's so much stuff I did not know before I started.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I started the club, so people can have some more hands-on experience in school to get them ready to do these projects at their internships.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fire. So I guess you're in the process, you're starting your internship, and how long did you do the internship for then?
So I did it for 3 summers, and they're 3 months each.
Okay.
My first summer, 2018, YouTube, it was a vibe. I was in San Bruno, which is like a suburb of San Francisco.
Yeah.
Second summer, Google Cloud, I was in San Francisco, actually San Francisco.
And you're simultaneously going to school, or this is during summer? They flew you out and took care of like room, board, whatever it would be for the internship, and you're in these cities?
Yeah, I'm in these cities. This is during the summertime. They gave you money to fly you out and all that, but
is it like per diem?
A lot of it.
Oh, okay. Is it like per diem? Like some companies will give you. Is that how you say it? Per diem? Is that how you guys say it? Yeah. Right? I don't know. It's like corporate term for like they just give you money to do whatever you want with.
Oh. Pretty much, yeah.
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 And it was enough to like afford like San Francisco. I think of California, and I'm like, did you find like another job to help like make things shake?
They definitely pay interns a decent amount. Like, when it was more money that I've like seen.
Yes.
And I was like, wow, I'm in freshman year of school, sophomore year of school, making this money.
Yeah. How happy were your parents? I want to interject real
Oh,
quick.
they were ecstatic.
Yeah, to see you making money and things like that.
Yeah.
All paid off.
Mm-hmm. Especially because, like, I mean, they always knew that I was smart, but, like, out of my sisters, I didn't get, like, all A's in, like, high school and all that. I mean, it was, I think everybody knew I had, like, potential, but they didn't know I would be able to realize
Capitalize on it so quickly.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was, I would say they gave me almost just enough. San Francisco is a very, very expensive place.
Yeah.
I cannot lie.
How do you compare it to Chicago, expense-wise?
Expense-wise, I mean, Chicago is very expensive, but, like, you can actually live in the city and not, like, so, for example, Chicago, you can live in, like, South Loop or something, which is pretty much downtown, and you're looking at, like, market price of about, for a one bed, one bath, you're looking at apartment price like 1.8 to, like, 2,200, something like that. In San Francisco, you're going to have a roommate for that price. And you're probably going to need a roommate. Maybe have 2 roommates for 2,000. And you're not going to be in, like, South Loop area. You're probably going to be, like, on the outskirts of town.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, like, I recently bought a property in Chicago.
Let's go.
Like, really, like, literally on the border of Bronzeville and South Loop. And I knew if I was in the Bay Area, I would not be able to afford no place around, like, the Mission District or none of that. Not even in San Bruno. I would have to, like, go all the way out the way to be able to afford something over there.
Yeah. Now, so San Bruno, and then you go, where do you go next for your second internship?
San Francisco.
San Francisco, and then where's your third?
Beltsville, virtually.
Okay, so where's Beltsville?
Maryland.
Maryland. Okay, so you worked there virtually then. What was your favorite internship?
That's a good question. I would say my favorite internship is the second one. Almost the first one because it's like the intrigue. Well, I was at the YouTube office specifically. YouTube is like it's under Google's own company. I loved YouTube, but I would say that since I was more seasoned in my second internship, I was able to do a lot more. So I think one of my favorite moments was not even with the actual core project worked. Pretty much I was able to bring about 25 students in the Bay Area who were minorities, in tech at least, and bring them to Google for a day and have like a whole bunch of workshops for them to not only like understand all the careers in tech, because I didn't know much about tech before I got into tech. And when I thought about Google, I thought about, okay, like software engineer, that's it. But when I got into Google, I'm like, oh, program manager, product manager, people who are in like doing different things with marketing, some people working in data centers. I'm like, wow, there's so many diversity of careers here.
There's so much in tech.
So much.
I literally don't understand even like the tip of the iceberg. I feel like I've just been thrown into this group with Meet and Landed almost 2 years ago, and I feel like every day I learn something new, and I feel like I'm still like at the surface level of tech. So it's definitely really intriguing and really cool to see everything you guys do. So as you're graduating college, what does the road from graduation to being in Chicago look like?
So I graduate college, tell my recruiter, don't put me in the Bay Area. And then we're looking at different spots. I said I also didn't want to go to Seattle.
So you have a recruiter?
Yeah, so once you get so pretty much how it works, this isn't the same for everybody, but you don't really have to re-interview sometimes for your return offer. Luckily, I didn't have to re-interview, so I just have to play the waiting game. I got the offer. Once you get the offer, then before they talk about like money and all that, they want to get the location first. So talk to my recruiter. Your recruiter still handles all of that.
Yeah.
And I just said, I don't want to go to the Bay Area. I don't want to be in Seattle. What we about to do? And then
What's wrong with Seattle?
It's just, I visited Seattle once. I don't know. I don't want to be on the West Coast. I'm from Maryland, so like them flights was killer if I ever wanted to travel home. But two, like, I don't know, West Coast culture just is not for me. It's something that I really appreciate that experience.
How would you describe it in 2 or 3 words?
2 or 3 words.
I've never been to the West Coast. I'm supposed to go.
I would say like West Coast culture is like, there's nothing wrong with always hustling, but it's like always hustling, and it's a bit fake at sometimes. Yeah. I think it's the fakeness that gets me.
Yeah, like not authentic.
Yeah.
Like they seem scripted.
It's not like they seem scripted. It's like they mean what they say, but it's like you're want to connect with me because you want to do this, not because you want to connect with me.
Yeah, it's not a genuine connection.
Yeah.
Yes. I can feel that.
I felt like there was a lot of like, and I would go to the club. People will be like, "Oh, what tech company do you work at?" I'll call an Uber back home. I'm lit. It's the middle of the night. Uber talking about his startup. I'm like, bro, like, what?
I can't even function right now.
It's actually, bro. I've seen people fight about whose dad is richer. Like, this is not even something. This is a real fight. If I go to my Snapchat memories to summer 2019, this guy, he takes his shirt off, talks about what his dad does, and the guys were getting into it.
Sounds like something one of these two would do.
I was like, I mean, it was cool, but I couldn't.
No, that's definitely not my vibe. Sometimes I wonder myself. I'll like ask my people because I guess I want to make sure I'm not constantly just portraying, even though I am like a 24/7 like hustle mindset. I agree with the authenticity and genuineness. You know what I mean? Like if you ever ask me some shit, and if it's true, I'm going to be like, yeah, that's true. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like in correspondence with anything. That could be my personal life, diet. People are like, are you always on diet? No, not at all. You know what I mean? Like I'd say like 70, 80% or something like that. But I try to be fully transparent in every way. But I also, being in the insurance business, the biggest return on investment for me is recruiting and attracting people to come, into my business and sell insurance.
Right.
So it's like I try to find that balance of like showing what needs to be done in order to like produce consistent, sustainable results, but also for me, like living my life, like, maybe going, like, I'm not a big like go out person, but that doesn't mean I like don't have stimulation for my mind. I think you should do what you like to do for stimulating your mind, your brain, like what brings you a sense of fulfillment and joy. For me, it's movies. Like for me, I'm a big, like, I'm definitely going to catch up at least 2-3 movies probably a week, and that's probably something that I don't portray a lot, that maybe I should portray more, but I don't know. It's like weird. Like it's cool. It's easier to flex the club opposed to like flexing. You know what I mean? Like the Hulk or something.
I mean, nah. I mean, flexing the Hulk is a lot to flex.
Yes, that is.
I would say that a lot of times, and there's nothing wrong with not liking to go out. But I would say for people who do like to go out and they choose not to, I wouldn't say not caution against it, but I would say when I was in the Bay Area, a lot of the most meaningful connections that I made were made.
It bites me in the ass that I don't like to. So it's like I have to ask myself, what will it cost me if I don't go out tonight? Because like there's another Landon out there that I can meet and genuinely meet, not just meet and be like, yo, I just 10x my network. You know what I mean? And there's another George out there that I can meet and just build a genuine connection with. So I think it helps me like asking, what's the cost of me not doing this? Kind of like with entrepreneurship, like what's the cost of me not doing the work that I need to do? It's just going to take either longer or I'm going to get less of a result or a reward. So that helps motivate me when I'm like, man, I do not want to take this hour Uber to the city. And
that is a long way.
You know what I mean? Hour there, hour back, and then it's like, in addition to that, it's like, who's out here that's nuts, to run up and like try to touch camera equipment, or if I gotta bring the camera dude, you know what I mean? It's like I gotta protect him, I gotta protect me, So I don't know, a lot of things run through my mind. And then I'm not a drinker, so but then again, it's like, do what makes you happy. I never like go out of my way to make anybody feel bad or feel weird.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's where you like stop a relationship, is when you make someone feel bad or make them feel weird. You know what I mean?
I agree. I think that also I'm not a big, like some people like, oh, you gotta drink or you gotta
you can have fun.
You can have fun without drinking. I'd be lit as hell off water.
Fun. Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit here and say I don't drink. I definitely get lit, but
yeah,
I just know like what it does to your body.
Yeah.
So I always try to like,
right?
If I'm going to drink, I'm going to drink today. If I'm not going to drink today, I'm not drinking at all.
Yeah.
And I try to like balance that a lot.
Yeah, I respect that a lot. So, internship to present day. So the road to Chicago. Did we complete that story?
Oh, almost. So, me and my recruiter were talking. They suggested Chicago to me. Well, I suggested New York, but I'm so happy I ended ended up going to New York. But they're like, because it was just coming out the pandemic, or still in the height of the pandemic, actually.
Yeah.
So there's lower headcount in a lot of places, and they said that only if you enter New York, you can go to New York. So I was like, I really don't know where I want to go. And then my recruiter was like, have you thought about Chicago? And I was like, no, I have no family here. I ain't know nobody here till I moved here.
Yeah.
But I was like, this might be like a cool, fresh slate. Talk to some people who I knew I talked to some people who knew people over here, talked to them, heard good things about it. And actually, it turns out that somebody, the director level, specifically requested for my application to go to Chicago, which is why she suggested it to me.
Wow.
And I was like, well, you should have led with that, honestly.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I made the decision to come over here, moved here in August of 2021. Never regretted it. I loved it ever since.
Yeah. So now, August 2021 until present day, what does that journey look like?
August 2021.
That's a year.
Present day. Yeah. So in between here and now, I met a lot of people. And I'm going to fast forward to November, where I thought of the idea for Tech Link-Up Shy. So one thing I did like about the Bay Area was that it's easy for you to network with other people within your profession. And I saw that there wasn't as many, especially since we're just still in the midst of the pandemic, there wasn't as many opportunities for people in tech in Chicago. There wasn't like a tech community at that point in time. So Tech Link-Up wasn't the first thing I thought of. Was Chicago Tech Community was the first iteration of that idea. And I knew there was the Afrotech conference. Afrotech, for context, people don't know, is like a really big conference. I think it's going to be in Austin this year for Black people in tech.
Yeah.
So Afrotech last year, I forgot where it was, but they had happy hours in big major cities. So I went to the happy hour in Chicago with the idea of adding as many people into this Chicago tech community group chat as possible. And I really wanted to focus on Black people and underrepresented people in tech. So that chart starts out, at first I'm just, meeting people, adding them to the chat, posting the fun things to do. And then fast forward to March. And I'm thinking, I have this chat full of people. At this point, it grew to about 120 or so. And I'm like, there's a lot of appetite for in-person events right now. Things are starting to open up. But I didn't so the whole point of Tech Link-Up Chicago is like creating comfortable networking environments, right?
Yeah.
Not everybody can just go into a happy hour and be a social butterfly. I would call myself somewhat of an ambivert. Some people know me as like the life of the party. Some people know me as quiet and reserved. It really just depends on my social battery on that particular day.
Yeah.
On the days where I'm quiet and reserved, I can understand how a lot of people don't like happy hours, because if you come with your people, sometimes you stick to with your people, and it's hard to, unless you just have that boldness, hard to integrate into other cliques sometimes.
Yeah.
I've been to a lot of good happy hours where I met a lot of people, but that might just be me with high energy mode. But the first meetup I did was in April. It was at Whirly Ball, and it made people, from what I've heard, that because they played this game together, even they didn't know each other, they're able to, talk smack to each other, talk about the game. And then after the game was over, it was like they had something that they can do, like have a commonality, and they also both work in tech, and that can go somewhere. So I didn't have the name Tech Link-Up yet, but my second event actually had a little bit of controversy to it.
I remember that. You guys had to switch places.
We had to switch places last minute, unfortunately. So pretty much I reserved at this place called Kanye Lounge or whatever, and it was for axe throwing. But for whatever reason, at the last minute, they sent me a voicemail talking about like, oh, don't bring your people here anymore. And this is a abridged version here, by the way.
Yes.
There was a whole bunch of, I don't even want to get into it.
Yeah.
So
I heard a paraphrase and I was like, oh, that's just nuts.
Yeah, it was really crazy. Luckily,
especially for such a diversified city already.
That's what I'm thinking.
It makes like zero sense.
And people run Kanye Lounge. I think it's a Hispanic-owned business.
Yeah.
So I'm like, come on, like, why y'all doing this?
Yeah.
Like, come on, like, why y'all doing this? But yeah, luckily Whirly Ball was in the same area as Kanye Lounge. I was able to make a quick transition, and a lot of people still came out, surprisingly, in the last minute transition. We did laser tag instead, and then we went on the roof, and it was like it was a vibe. It was the beginning of Summertime Shy.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it. And so from there until most recent, I guess more more so with the present, let me ask this question. Who is the top 2-3 coolest people you've met up until this point in your life?
In my whole life.
Yeah, in your whole life. Top 2-3 coolest.
Top 2-3 coolest people in my whole life. I gotta think about that one. I mean, for one, I gotta shout out my parents. One, I guess I'm going to talk about people who influenced my journey the most.
Yeah.
So my parents, one, because from young they instilled into me like, well, one, they got me interested in technology inadvertently.
Yes.
And two, they always instilled into me hard work, and I've seen them work hard, long nights, like real long nights. My mom studying to go to school, putting my sisters through school. So yeah, and what they even did to come to America, like, my parents, number one. Two, I would have to say my professor from freshman year. His name is Amin Sheikh. He put me on the path to where I am now, because on my own, I would have never applied to Google. I barely applied when he told me to apply.
Yeah.
Because it's not something that I thought it was possible for me to do.
He instilled that confidence in you.
Yeah. And three, I would have to say, he doesn't know it, but his name is Jerron Petty. It's somebody who I interned with my very first summer, because he made the intern group chat that year, and he brought a lot of the black interns together. And I really liked the way he did that, and it kind of inspired me to build a lot of communities that I built afterwards, because I saw the way that he built that community with the black interns my first year.
Let's go. That's dope. Who was the last one? Jerron?
Yeah.
Jerron Petty.
Yep.
And then how was his relation to you?
We were cool. We hung out a lot,
Okay.
especially the first 2 summers. We both interned at Google. Now he founded Color Stack, which is also something I respected him for, because he had an offer to go to Google full-time for the associate product manager, but he declined the offers to start his own thing. And Color Stack pretty much is I don't know if it's a company or nonprofit, but it pretty much, the whole thing behind it is getting more black and Latinx and other people of color into tech, because a lot of us are not exposed to it at a young age. I met so many people at Google who want to be software engineers or data scientists since they were like 10, and I'm like, damn, bro, I was just playing football. Like, I ain't know none of this stuff.
That's dope. So would you say the hardest adversity you've had to endure in your whole life was just that hardship as a child? You know what I mean? Having to be so zoned in at all times from your parents?
Yeah, I would say that I had to learn how to relax within the last 2 years, just because, like, I see my parents grind, I see my sisters grind, so I'm like, I have to grind to get what I want, because where I'm at right now is not where I want to be.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that there was any, there was a lot of major things going on, but, like, it wasn't directly in relation to me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but did it impact you then, obviously, like, indirectly?
Yeah, it did impact me indirectly. But I don't know if I can get into that on the podcast.
If you don't want to, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah? All right. Okay, so let's tip back into kind of like your future vision. You know, where do you see yourself over the next 5 to 10 years? What does that look like? 5
to 10 years. See, I love and hate this question, because...
Yeah, I'm the same way.
I know I have an overall vision, but I don't know what that is. Like, most people like, because a lot of people see me, George is very detail oriented. He must have a plan. I'm like, nah, not really. Yeah. I know I have a general idea of what I want to do, and that is, one, scale up Justice for Cameroon in a way that it can really impact even more people than it's.
What's the why behind Justice for Cameroon?
Why behind Justice for Cameroon? So, 2016, I heard about, like, the Anglophone Crisis from, like, my aunts and uncles.
What's that crisis?
Anglophone Crisis. Good question. So, it's pretty much, the basis behind it is that it started from a protest from school teachers who are in the English-speaking region, because they were not, like, getting the jobs. They're bringing a lot of French teachers in. They felt like they didn't have enough opportunities. This peaceful protest was met with violence. And I don't remember this, but I remember, like, people, like, there was a lot of people who died. And this radicalized a lot of people. They shut down the internet. This started a lot more protests just in general, because it wasn't just education. It was like a lot of different places. If you didn't know French, you weren't really going to go anywhere. So this radicalized a lot of people, especially when they shut the internet down for a couple months. And then there were the armed separatists, also known as the Emba Boys or Ambazonian, which is why they call Emba Boys.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much a civil war that's been going on for a while, which has impacted Cameroon. Because Cameroon was a relatively, even though it had its problem, it was very peaceful mostly up until that point. But most of the GDP from Cameroon came from the northwest and southwest regions, which are the English-speaking regions. A lot of people have been displaced. I think there's over like 100,000 people displaced or more. But specifically how it impacted my family, my mom's from a smaller town called Nguti, and they had to vacate that town. They started to come back within the last couple of years, but like they had to completely abandon it because it was not safe to be there at that point in time. So I always was aware of it. I always heard stories. You know, a lot of people get kidnapped for ransom. Things like that, because the Ember Boys, it's like a gray area. They're not good or bad. The government, it's not as great. They're kind of like amplifying it.
What is the government there?
The government, the French government, there's only been 2 presidents since Cameroon was instilled in 1960. Amadou Ahidjo and Paul Biya.
So do they serve as like, is it 2 presidents simultaneously serving?
No. Just in general. I'm just saying since 1916 there's been 2 presidents. And Paul Biya
is it like a communist nation?
It's not communist. It's technically democracy. And it's also capitalist. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's technically a democracy. But Paul Biya has been in power since like 1980 something. And he's still in power right now.
Yeah, hell no.
So yeah, that just goes to show like it's a lot of like underlying issues in between it. I forgot my train of thought. I forgot where I was going with this.
Wrapping back into the why.
Oh, why?
Justice for Cameroon.
Yes, there we go. Okay, so I always knew I wanted to get involved, but I didn't know, how to get involved. I mean, yes, I'm Cameroonian, and one thing about Maryland is very culturally diverse. There's a huge Cameroon community, and just immigrants in general. I grew up in mostly an immigrant town. It was actually rare for somebody to be just like fully African American, and it's rare to meet somebody who was like white. So I had a big Cameroon community, but I wasn't really on the continent. I wasn't really in the country understanding the intricacies and the everything of the issue. And then on top of that, I'm like, I don't know how to help, how to spread awareness. There's so much misinformation going on right now. Like, it's actually insane. Then I got into this thing called the University of California called Summer Institutes for Emerging Managers and Leaders. This was my junior year of college. I think it's a summer going into before my senior year. And it's more of a business thing, but I still got in somehow.
Yeah.
And there was a pitch competition, and I was reading the profiles of the judges. And then I see one of the judges, her name was Christina Kohlberg. I believe she was Cuban or somewhere around that area. But she had an NGO in Cameroon. So I was like, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So
what's an NGO?
A non-governmental organization. It's pretty much similar to a nonprofit.
Okay.
And I was like, I asked my program coordinator, can you connect me with this judge after this thing is over? And she's like, yeah, sure. We had a long conversation. Her thing is called Open Dreams. It's actually a really great organization where it was founded by her and one of her classmates at Harvard named Blaise Bouma.
Okay.
And she's not Cameroonian, but she was just moved by Blaise's story. Pretty much, he's from Bamenda, I think, which is in Cameroon. And he had to work really hard and ended up getting a scholarship to Harvard. But if it wasn't for that scholarship, he didn't think he would be in the same position he is now. So he founded Open Dreams so he can, one, like give students a safe place to study and have like community as well. But two, also like gets students scholarships to countries abroad as well. So they have students in Ghana, students in America. I've actually met a couple of the students. One of them actually was on Justice For Cameroon for a little bit as well, and places in Europe.
And so is all of your guys' outreach, where is it accomplished through?
So outreach is accomplished to Instagram, but let me backtrack right quick so to tie that in together.
Okay.
So when I was helping out at Open Dreams, I did a couple workshops with them, And I asked James Akaba, who's like one of the main program coordinators, I was like, you guys do really amazing work. I had no idea you guys existed. Who else do you know who's doing good work like you
That's
guys?
a great question.
He gave me a long list. I vetted the list. I created like a little card page with all of them together, and I was like, there was a page that already existed named Justice for Cameroon, but I like the fact they're trying to spread awareness, but I didn't like how they're doing it. So they were just posting like mutilated bodies, all of this stuff that was going on, and it's like, yes, this is real life, but at the same time, people are just looking at this. You just posted somebody's body online, and it's like, what is somebody supposed to do about that? You didn't give links about where to donate. You didn't fully explain what the Anglophone Crisis was. Nobody has any context or what to do with this information. And they haven't also posted in over a year at this point. So I contact that page. I'm like, yo, let me get this page. I want to take it over, and this is that. And let me get the page. Call some of my Cameroonian friends. Had a small meeting, and then we started Justice for Cameroon. And the idea is not just to spread awareness, but to tell people what they can do about it, where they can donate, where they can volunteer, but also give them historical context of how it started. So, because I feel like to understand how to end something, you need to understand how it started and what's currently going on.
Yeah. Now, do you guys have any stats on how much money you've raised since you started really putting a big focus, or just anything you guys have, any like major milestones you guys have accomplished?
So we've indirectly raised probably over $10,000 indirectly.
That's huge.
Just because, like,
how much does that translate over into their currency?
Honestly, I think about $2,000 is about 1 million francs.
Wow.
But 1 million francs isn't like $1 million.
Yeah. It depends on like, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think just about. So, but money that we directly raised. So we raised money for particular people. So I seen this DW. I forgot what DW stands for, but it's kind of like this news agency. For somebody named Helen. I forgot her last name, but pretty much her story is that she was raped by Cameroon soldiers, unfortunately, and she had to flee from where her area was. She was pregnant by this, and she had nowhere to go. She was taken in by an organization that's called, I hope I remember off the top of my head, Hope for Rehabilitation Organization. There we go. That's based in Yaoundé, I believe. Yaoundé is the capital of Cameroon.
Okay.
And they help. She's what they call an IDP, internally displaced people, and she's just one of many stories. I saw her story. I contacted the Hope for Rehabilitation Organization because I really love what they're doing. Not only were they helping her out, but they were giving free trauma counseling, which is like a very overlooked part. It just in general, like when you hear about stories like of what people have been going through, a lot of people don't think about like how it's mentally impacted them. It's like, oh, here's some money, right?
Yeah.
But not like, let me talk to you. Like, how does this make you feel? You know? So talk to them about it, and I was actually able to raise about $2,500 for her to start a business for her, so she can make enough money to start a business, be self-sufficient, and take care of her child.
That's huge.
Another one we did recently, we did a Valentine's Day auction for another family, and I believe her name is, I forgot her name off the top of my head, but she has about 4 kids. In Cameroon, you have to pay school fees in order to go to school. So she didn't have enough money to just pay school fees, so we raised about $2,000 as well for her, and to put like her youngest child through school and her second youngest child through school.
That's dope. That's really dope. I hope you guys got that. Justice for Cameroon.
Justice for Cameroon.
Let's go. I love that. Let's tie into something, maybe a little lighter. You have a bunch of money. What would you blow it on? Outside of Justice for Cameroon.
I'll probably blow it on real estate.
Real estate?
If possible, yes. But if we're just talking about fun stuff.
Fun stuff.
I would blow it on, I don't know, house. I don't know. I really don't splurge a lot, honestly. Probably new clothes, new jewelry.
Infinite amount, though.
Infinite amount?
Yeah.
Yeah. I won't lie, I like jewelry. Like, you probably see I got all this. I like getting a lot of custom made earrings. I got I could probably do like a whole fashion show of the different type of earrings that I got.
Yeah.
Probably, well, hope my parents don't hear this, but probably get a tattoo.
Yeah.
So I was actually going to get one until my tattoo artist got his arm broken. It's like, that's a sign.
Yeah. What's wrong with the tattoo? Does it go against the culture or religion?
Not neither necessarily, but
Or
it's
just their expectations as a parent?
Just their expectation as a parent.
Okay, that's
but it is very common for Cameroonians and Africans in general to be very against like tattoos, earrings, etc. Like I don't even wear my earrings around my parents, because my parents like flipped out when they saw I got my ears pierced my first day of freshman year of college. I came back, I was wearing clear piercings because you can't really take them out the first time you get them pierced. So I was wearing clear piercings. My mom is very observant, and we were sitting. I had on clear piercings and a hoodie on.
Yes.
And my mom was like, "Georgie, what's down your ear?" And I'm like, "How did she know?"
Yeah.
And then my dad was like, "Huh?" Because my dad, he doesn't really notice until my mom noticed. She's like the detector, and he's like the enforcer.
Yeah.
And he's then on the ride back home, because we were at the grocery store when they realized, my dad just kept rapping me like, "Oh, you can't be wearing that stuff. It's not good.
Yeah.
People are going to judge you, this, and that." I'm like, bro, it's like, it's not the olden days. Like, I understand where you're coming from.
It's 2022, bro.
Like, chill. But yeah.
That's hilarious. What would you say if somebody asked you, hey, listen, what are your top 2-3 strengths?
Top 2-3 strengths. I know for one would probably be like organization, to a T. Like for like everything that I do, I always have like a set plan, and I'm really good at communicating that plan to other people, because I feel like a plan isn't good unless somebody else can just take it and I'm not there and they can run with that.
Yes, I agree.
I would say too, community building. I was able to build like a lot of communities throughout Morgan. Even to right this day, there's still like Morgan State Computer Science group chat that's thriving with alumni in there, because I created it because I saw that people need to get together. And I don't know, I also throw a lot of parties as well.
Yeah.
I just like bringing people together. And what would be my third one? I don't know. Nothing that comes up the top of my head.
Yeah,
Two solid.
Communication and then community building. So I think that's dope. Now, what about, do you have a favorite food, a favorite dish, or a favorite restaurant?
Yes, my favorite food is called ndole. It's a Cameroonian dish. I make it like all the time, and it's pretty much like.
How do you spell it? I want to Google it and see what it looks like.
Ndole. And I think the E has an accent mark, but you don't really need it.
Ndole is a Cameroonian dish. So let me read this. Ndole is a Cameroonian dish consisting of stewed nuts, ndole, and fish or beef. This dish may also contain shrimp, traditionally eaten with plantains, bobolo, etc. Is that a good explanation?
Yes, sir. Favorite things. I would say the closest things to give you guys a visual would be like cream spinach.
Yeah.
But it's not even exactly like the nuts, you cream the nuts. So like until I made it my own, I had no idea there are nuts inside bobolo. I said bobolo, ndole, and you can eat it. It tastes really good with plantains. Is my favorite.
Yes.
But bobolo is a close second, and bobolo is like fermented cassava. It's very.
This just looks good.
I don't know how to explain it, but yeah.
Yeah, that looks fire. That looks good. So, do you have a favorite restaurant?
I don't.
Is there any Cameroonian restaurants in Chicago?
There is actually one. It's called Bokaru Lounge.
Do you like it?
Yeah. I would say it's actually one of the. So there's this thing called soya, or suya might be more common pronunciation for like people who are not Cameroonian, but it's like very well spiced beef, and it's just delicious.
Yeah.
And he had in Chicago, at least, it has some of the best food that I've tasted in Chicago.
Let's go. Now, are you a movies or a shows person?
Shows. I like seeing character development over time, and I don't know. I always feel like movies are rushed.
Yeah? So what's your favorite show? Top 2.
Top 2, Attack on Titan, and I would say I'll go for another anime, Hunter x Hunter.
Hunter x Hunter?
Hunter x Hunter, yeah.
What is Attack on Titan?
Man, you gotta watch it.
You guys gotta tell. Like, what's Attack on Titan?
Attack on Titan is this anime. I'm not gonna spoil it because I want y'all to watch it, but pretty much it starts out, there are these things called Titans that eat humans, and most of the world's population, as it seems, is been taken out by these Titans. There's a wall that stands between the current humans and the Titans, but it's a lot more three-dimensional than a monster versus human story that you would expect. So
yeah.
I really encourage you to watch it.
Do you like Dragon Ball Z?
Yes, it used to be one of my favorites until I started watching a lot more animes.
Yeah.
But I grew up on GBZ. Yeah.
Did you watch the newest movie?
No, the superhero one.
Yeah,
No, I have not watched it yet. Did you watch it?
I did.
Oh yeah, because you're a moviegoer.
Yeah, exactly. So like, and I was in the show growing up for a good bit, but then I like fell off a little in high school. So for me, my standards are like low. So like I really liked the movie. Peter loves Dragon Ball Z, and he liked the movie. So like I feel like if he liked the movie and he's like hardcore into the show, like he's never really like, so he like knows everything about it, and he liked the movie. Because I feel like sometimes when they make movies, you know what I mean. Obviously, if it's recreating a show or it's just recreating something that you fell in love with pre-existing, you know what I mean, with a movie not there. Be like if they made like a, I don't know if have you seen Game of Thrones?
Oh yeah. I'm watching House of Dragons right
Okay,
now.
I was gonna say
I just watched the second episode yesterday.
it would be like if we would all be worried if they made like a Game of Thrones movie of like how do you live up to the show that you created. So for me, I like the Dragon Ball Z movie, but that's my personal opinion of like low movie standards.
I mean, so you probably have higher standards than me because when it comes to movies, I feel like I'm somewhat easily impressed.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, for Dragon Ball Z though, I'll say that I did not like Dragon Ball Super that much, but it had some good moments in it.
The show?
The show, I didn't like the show.
That's the one where they fight Lord Beerus?
Yeah, I like that moment. I like Beerus as a character.
I love Beerus as a character.
There's just a lot of moments in the show.
A lot of boring shit. Like I haven't finished the whole show.
Yeah, it's not worth it. I'll just skip to maybe Ultra Instinct.
Yeah, that's what popped up. So spoiler alert. So I'm not gonna talk because you haven't seen the movie. But
oh yeah, don't tell me.
I ain't gonna tell you.
I'm gonna watch it.
All right, yeah. So I won't tell you the movie. All right, we'll start to wrap up. We're probably an hour in. Are you desserts at all? Any sweet tooth?
Not much of a sweet tooth like I used to be, but if I were to get some, I'll get like red velvet cake.
Yeah, it's fire. Oh, Velvet Taco has a good red velvet cake. Velvet Taco's in the city.
Interesting.
Where's that at?
It's in Wrigleyville, Lincoln Park.
Yeah, Wrigleyville, Lincoln Park, whatever. Is that what you said, Wrigleyville, Lincoln Park?
Yeah.
Yeah, Velvet Taco. They have a red velvet cake. Landon actually showed me it, too.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's good. It's got a really good red velvet cake. Yeah, in my opinion.
Let me write that down on my list.
Yes. What about hobbies outside of work right now?
I just love to do a lot of like things that I see randomly on Eventbrite. So I saw this. Well, it wasn't Eventbrite, but I saw this biking thing.
Yeah.
I think they call it Streets Calling, like a bike ride. So I've been biking a lot lately. I like hooping.
Yeah.
Sometimes I go to a comedy show.
Yeah, I love that.
Just anything that gets me active. I got ClassPass too. So if you're not familiar, if y'all don't know, ClassPass is this app where there's a whole bunch of like fitness classes on there and other stuff too. So like you can get like a whole different type of workout. I did this thing called bar. It's like ballet, but it's like
you'd be
intense.
surprised.
That shit was intense, bro.
Yeah, I just started like professional yoga classes again.
Oh,
Like having a
word.
yoga instructor, and I'd be in there like dead, like just mad at the teacher. You know what I mean? Like
I accidentally went to an advanced yoga class one time and they folded me up like a pretzel, bro.
yeah,
I did not know what I was getting myself into.
I'm dead. I actually have that Wednesday, and it's like right now it's like the most dreadful part of my week. It's like, yo, I'm about to go get messed up with these old ladies. You know what I mean? I'm about to be
old
dead.
Ladies will put you to shame.
Yes.
In that bar class, because it's like ballet, but they were like, and I was panting. I was like,
Yeah, I would have been dead. I can already tell I would have been dead. I think that's everything I wanted to cover. I don't think there's anything tech controversial that I want to talk on or anything like that. Is there anything else you think I should hit on, Aiden? I feel like I've hit on a good bit. Yeah. So this is another episode of Adversity Kings. Solid hour in with George Makunde. Shout out Justice For Cameroon. Shout out all his socials. Anything else you want to plug in again?
Yeah, just follow. I mean, you can follow me as well at G_Makunde, MAKUNDE.
Dope.
And yeah.
Dope. Another episode of Adversity King. Stay tuned. If you guys are a returning listener, you find value in the podcast, or you're just having a good time, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. It just helps us, have better ratings, reviews, whatever. We're going to be able to get more and better guests and just more of a variety of guests, I'd like to say, on our show for you guys to hear more. And anything you guys want to hear, just comment, let us know. Peace out. Have a good day.